Hello, welcome to Wrestle MSX. I'm Michael.
I'm back, and I'm Sally.
Kairi Sane defeated Roxanne Perez.
Bron Breakker defeated Sami Zayn.
Jey Uso defeated Bronson Reed via DQ.
Grande Americano defeated Dragon Lee.
And Seth Rollins defeated Penta. Now, if you want to know why Jey won via DQ...
Zayn out indefinitely.
The wise man is now the Oracle.
And Roman Reigns gets a mention, but doesn't show.
We begin with Seth freaking Rollins and co. And when Seth reaches out his hand for the mic from Heyman, Breakker steps forward and takes it before Rollins has chance. Break up on the cards. Breakker says he doesn't like Sami Zayn and that he has the athletic ability of a dead fish. He promises that if he walks down the ramp, he's going to maul his head off. Heyman then coaxes the mic away from Bron and passes it to Seth. Seth laughs and then notices that Reed is looking at the mic, so passes it to him. Tsunamiing Seth 6 times built a respect between Reed and Seth, and that's why Rollins brought Reed into the group, according to Reed. Reed then says he will tsunami the respect into Jey Uso later as they have a match. Seth takes the mic back and hands it to Heyman. Heyman claims Roman Reigns doesn't have the cojones to step up against them and that he's MIA, just as Jey will be later after facing Reed. Heyman then speaks a little Spanish, no me either, and says that Penta will be in no shape to do his little hand signals again after facing Seth later. Seth then finally speaks, saying there's only one thing left to say. Welcome to Monday Night Rollins.
Backstage, we see Finn Balor admiring all the gold the Judgment Day has acquired and laughing and joking with the other members when in walks Raquel Rodriguez, asking what that is. She's pointing to what looks like a memorial for Liv Morgan, with Perez saying she made it for Dom. Raquel says Liv will be back soon, with Finn telling her not to be so sure about that. JD then asks Balor if he knows what's coming down the line for them, with Balor saying, no idea, let's go talk to Pierce. Before they head off, Dom thanks them for the get well soon cake, with Balor and JD in sync saying, was that you? Before shaking their heads and saying, that wasn't us. The pair then head off. As they do, Dom removes the cover and reads what's written on it. Get well soon, Dom, from AJ. The camera then pans back and we see AJ Styles lurking behind the Judgment Day wardrobe. Dom tells Styles he has a doctor's note and then goes to show him, but Styles has vanished.
Balor and JD, their sync with what they said was brilliant. So, first match of the night, Kairi Sane versus Roxanne Perez. Perez with Rodriguez. Perez controls the early exchanges before we get a pin-off, with each trying a combination of pin attempts, with Sane then sending Perez from the ring with a flying forearm. Back in the ring and after the break we see a neck breaker from Sane, followed by another forearm and missed top rope move. Sane didn't even try the top rope move as she knew Perez was going to move, which kind of kills it for me. Don't not do your move just because you know it's not planned to hit. You're supposed to make me believe, the opponent is dodging your move, not just jumping off the top rope and over your opponent because that's the way it's been scripted. I've always hated this. It just looks so poor. They just jump off the top rope and over the opponent and you're like, well, you know you're not supposed to hit your move, but at least try to make it look like you're hitting your move. Anyway.
A kick, uppercut to the back of the head and moonsault from Perez gets her a 2-count cover, even though a rough landing from Perez just about knocked Sane out, with Perez's knees catching Sane's face on landing. Perez then did what seemed like a Penta sacrifice and somersault knees to the back of Sane's head, covering for another 2. Sane then finally fights back with an Alabama slam and heads to the top rope for insane elbow, but Big Mommy Cool pulls Perez from the ring.
Sane hits a crossbody to the outside on Raquel, with Perez then throwing Sane back into the ring. Perez goes for pop rocks, but Sane just stands up, gets her into a backslide cover and picks up the victory as Perez can't kick out. After the match, the Judgment Day women beat on the Pirate Wannabe with Asuka running out for the save. Rodriguez gets sent over the top rope and Perez suffers an insane elbow from Sane as Asuka held her in place. Now, I don't know if it's you or just, it's probably just me, but I find Kairi Sane boring to watch. She does not interest me in one bit. Especially with that jumping over I'm not going to hit this move, I'm just going to jump over it. I know a lot of others do, but I just find her boring. I know that she's got a big following. I've no doubt there are fans out there. There might even be some fans watching now of her. If you like her, tell me why, but I just find her boring to watch. I have no interest in her at all. Sorry if you're a fan, but if you're watching, Kairi, you're boring.
Jackie Redmond is backstage with Sami Zayn and asks how he's managing everything. Sami says he's not. He wants revenge on Cross, but he has to think about Breakker. Sami heads off with Scarlett then coming into view. Redmond asks Scarlett if she has something to say, with Scarlett replying, no.
We come back from the break with American Made speaking with Adam Pearce. Pearce says El Grande Americano has a match later, with Brutus saying that's impossible as Chad Gable's hurt. Julian gives Brutus a clip with Ivy Nile then asking for a spot in the Battle Royal at Evolution. Pearce says she's in it. The Kabuki Warriors then enter Pearce's office saying they want to take down Judgment Day. Pearce says that they can represent Raw at Evolution in the women's Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match.
We then get a promo from Nikki Bella saying that she wants one more moment and has entered the Battle Royal at Evolution. The winner of this match will be getting a title shot at Clash in Paris.
Next up, Sami Zayn versus Bron Breakker. As Sami makes his way out, he's attacked by Karrion Kross and hit with a pipe. Pearce and his backstage hands head out when the damage has already been done and see Kross off. We come back from a break and see Zayn in the ring telling Pearce he's still good to go against Breakker, with Pearce reluctantly relenting and allowing the match to go ahead. What a tongue twister that was. Who wrote that?
Breakker targets Zayn's ribs again and again and again, with Breakker then lining up a spear. Zayn, though, manages to clothesline Bron and follow up with a double axe handle before going for another. This one is caught mid-ear by a spear, with Zayn then rolling out the ring. Breakker follows and hits another spear, with the crowd chanting one more time. Breakker then throws Zayn back into the ring, runs the ropes and spears Zayn once again. Breakker then goes for the pin and covers Zayn for the 1, 2, 3.
We head backstage with Adam Pearce talking to the War Raiders and telling them that he'll keep them in the loop. They are then interrupted by the New Day, who are in mourning. They're waiting for their tag rematch, with the War Raiders saying you don't get automatic rematches. Becky Lynch tells the New Day she's sorry for their loss before heading out to the ring.
And well, surprise, surprise, we have a triple threat match for the women's Intercontinental title at Evolution between Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria and Bayley.
Now, didn't we say this ages ago?
Yes.
That's why I need to watch us. We have got the scoop. No dirt sheets here. That's what we're going with, and that's what's happened.
Lynch complains that Io got to pick her opponent, as did Stratton, but she didn't, citing that Lyra and Bayley are in cahoots. Bayley then heads out, as does Valkyria about 20 seconds later. Lyra calls Lynch crazy, with Bayley telling Lyra she doesn't need any more friends. Lynch stirs the pot between the other two, with Bayley saying she watched Lyra raise Becky's hand when she lost to her like a little pitch. Lyra swings at Bayley but hits Lynch instead, with Bayley and Lyra then going at it. Bayley gets tossed from the ring, with Becky suffering a nightwing. Bayley comes back but also gets nightwinged, with Valkyria standing tall after this small battle.
That's going to be a tough one to call, that is.
Very much so.
Backstage, we see Seth telling Bron he couldn't be prouder, with Bron then asking what they're going to do about Cross, as he thinks people will think he couldn't beat Sami by himself. Seth tells him not to worry about Cross and that nobody likes him. As Seth continues to speak with Breakker, in walks Heyman, who informs us that Sami Zayn is out indefinitely. The group laugh, with Seth then asking Reed what he's laughing at. Seth adds it's just occurred to him that Jey Uso is in fine health, with Reed saying he won't be after he's done with it.
Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed now, and just before the match we learn that Paul Heyman is now known as the Oracle.
Of course he is.
Reed drops Jey with a knee, does a slow yeet, and then misses a senton. Jey kicks and punches Reed, sending him from the ring, with Jey then diving out at the Aussie, sending him over the announcer's desk. Jey kicks Reed into one of the commentator's chairs and then follows up with another kick, knocking him off it.
Jey gets back in the ring to dive out at Reed again, but upon launch, Reed throws the chair at Jey, cancelling the launch and the match as the ref calls for the bell. Reed then tsunamis Jey twice before Pearce and crew head out to put a stop to things.
We have a vignette from LA Knight next, basically saying he's going to beat Seth at Saturday night's main event.
We get a massive video package for Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley at Evolution before our next match, El Grande Americano against Dragon Lee. Quick moves with rapid takedowns, counters and reversals are the order of the day, with Lee then about to dive out the ring, only to be stopped with a knee by Grande and dragged out the ring. Lee is then thrown into the ring steps and over the timekeeper's barrier as we then head to a break.
We come back and we're on the top rope, with Lee fighting out and hitting a sit-down powerbomb into cover for 2. A basement dropkick picks up another 2 count for Lee, with Americano then getting 2 off a blockbuster from the ropes. Lee does his double stomp from the top rope, getting another 2 count cover before heading up top for a top rope move.
While Lee's on the top rope, Americano fiddles with his mask and then dodges the attack as Lee jumps at him. The two then charge at one another, with El Grande jumping headfirst at Lee. The headbutt puts Lee down, with El Grande then covering and picking up the win. Come on, El Grande.
Backstage, we see Penta and Heyman exchanging words in Spanish, with Heyman actually introducing himself as Seth's personal oracle. Breakker then walks in saying, "I don't know what you just said, but watch your tone." Penta does his zero fear, with Breakker and Heyman saying they hate that as Penta heads off.
We hear from the ring general next. Gunther assumes that Goldberg is afraid of him, as he's been verbally abusing him over the last few weeks, and Goldberg's done nothing about it. We then hear tyres screech and see a car coming to a halt. Out steps, of course, Goldberg, who makes a beeline for the ring. Goldberg squares up to Gunther, with Goldberg telling Gunther to hit him. Gunther does, but Goldberg blocks it and fires back, flooring the champ. Goldberg then sets up for a spear, but Gunther wisely rolls out the ring.
Last match of the night, Penta versus Seth Rollins. Penta superkicks Seth out the ring as soon as the bell rings, with Penta then using the announcer's desk and ring barrier to cause as much damage to Seth as possible. When we get back in the ring, Penta lines up his headstand in the corner, but Seth rolls out the way to the apron, chokes Penta on the top rope and then looks for the pedigree.
Penta escapes and sends Seth back to the outside before diving out at him as we hit a break. We come back and we're in the ring with Seth in control before a sling blade from Penta allows him to set up for the corner headstand, which this time connects. A backstabber then gets Penta a 2. Penta springboards off the ropes, but Seth catches him, drops him on his knee to take the wind out of his sails, and then frog splashes from the top rope. The follow-up cover only getting a 2.
Rollins looks for the stomp, but Penta avoids it, with the two then fighting on the top rope. Penta brings Seth down with a Hurricane Rana and then hits him with the Penta driver and covers for 2, Seth barely kicking out. Seth manages to buckle bomb Penta, but Penta bounces out of the corner straight into a Mexican destroyer on Seth and covering for 2 as Seth grabbed the bottom rope.
That buckle bomb, Penta, 0 selling. Penta looks for the Penta driver again, but upon setting it up, Rollins nuts Penta in his walnuts, claiming he caught them as he was getting up, and therefore it was accidental. With Penta down, Seth lands a stomp and covers for the 1-2-3. Seth then tells Heyman to call them now, with Heyman getting out his phone to tell Bronson to head out. As they do, we focus on Seth in the ring, who is then blindsided by LA Knight, who hits him with a BFT and then escapes through the crowd. Bronson go after Knight, with Bron getting stuck over the crowd barrier as he gives chase. The two return to Seth, who looks shocked. Raw goes off the air with Knight standing among the crowd while they chant his name. If you get a chance to see Bron, getting stuck over the crowd barrier. Please do. He goes
So
head first,
funny.
and then he's just stuck. He's upside down.
Reed pulls him back.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I've gone too far here.
Stuck there, yeah.
And that was funny. The last match was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
I did like that. I say the Balor and the JD thing, that was funny.
Yeah. I mean, just the Judgment Day in general.
Yeah,
I always like
Balor's
their
loving
bits.
it. I mean, it's a shame Liv's out injured because she added that extra
Yeah.
with her and Finn. But, yeah, all in all, yeah.
Yeah, obviously setting up for what we've got
Oh,
coming this
lots of
weekend
setting up at the moment.
for Saturday night's main event and obviously Evolution. So packed.
And there's
weekend.
going to be nobody left to fight the bad guys.
No?
Sami's out indefinitely.
Yeah.
Jey's got to be out after a couple of
It's going to be taped up
again. Well, he survived him last time, so he'll be out. And it leaves Punk. Oh, they are in trouble.
Agree or disagree? Let us know. Put any comments in that section down below.
Thank you again for watching, if you did watch.
And we'll see you Wednesday for a look at this past week in WWE, Thursday for our predictions for Saturday night's main event and Evolution, and then Saturday when we take a look at SmackDown.
Oh, we're going to be busy.